Hello everyone, this is Sanjana. Hope you're all doing great. So today we're going to start with a new series of distributed computing of semester 8 KTU syllabus. Okay, let's get started. Now, we all use Google every day. So do you think what happens behind Google? Like, do you know if it uses one powerful computer or multiple computers? Actually, it uses multiple computer. So why doesn't Google use one very powerful computer? Think about it. Google has so many services like Google Search, YouTube, Gmail, Maps, then Google Drive, Google Photos, so many things are there. And millions of users use these services every second. So is it possible for one computer to handle all of this? No, right? No. So Google has millions of computers around the world. And then there comes another problem. These computers need to work together. How? They need to exchange information, they need to share their work, they need to store data, they need to recover if one computer crashes. And this is the place where distributed system comes into picture. Okay. Now, this is the course outcome of this paper. And these are the syllabus of module 1. We'll be covering in this module basics of distributed system and computation model. And coming to the main part. So, now let us see. Imagine there is a group project. And there are, usually in a group project, how many members will be there? 4 or maybe 5. Yeah. And here, let's say we have 4 students, and each student has their own notebook, their own laptop, their own ideas. Okay, each of them have their own things. Okay, and no one shares the same notebook. So how do they communicate? They are doing a group project, so they need to communicate somewhere. Let's say they are communicating through WhatsApp. Here, each person is actually working independently. Okay, this is an example. And they are working independently, but they finish the project together. Each of them have their own ideas, right? They are working independently, but their goal is to complete one project. And this is exactly how a distributed system works. A distributed system is a collection of independent entities. They're all independent, they're all different individuals, and they cooperate to solve a problem that cannot be individually solved. If these independent entities were alone, that particular problem cannot be solved by them alone. So they come together to solve a problem, but that doesn't change of what the work they are doing. So a distributed system can be characterized as a collection of mostly autonomous processes. Autonomous processes means they are an independent individual or an independent entity. So a distributed system can be characterized as a collection of mostly autonomous processes communicating over a communication network. Okay, and distributed system has been characterized in several ways. Let's say some of the real life examples. I've already told about Google search, like thousands of servers are there. When one is searching, thousands of servers are there. Now let's take another example of Amazon. There'll be different servers inside that. One server can handle payment, the another might handle the inventory, another can handle recommendations, some other server will be handling delivery. But when the user sees, the user cannot see all these different servers. It just looks like one single website. Okay, that is in case of Amazon. Let it be Netflix. Your movie is stored in so many servers, right? If one server fails, then another server starts streaming. Similarly for banking and all those things. Okay, so here the users will feel like they're using one computer, but behind there are several servers working. That is actually what here it has been said. The computers, they are all independent entities. They do not share common memory, or they do not have any common clock, and each computer has its own memory, its own operating system. It has, just like the example I've told about the project. Each student have their own idea, their own notebook, their own things. They're communicating through a network. In that case, WhatsApp. Okay, here there is a communication network there. It has its own operating system, it has its own memory, but they do not share any common memory. But the work is being done there. And when for the user, it appears to be a single coherent system, a single coherent computer, not different things. Now, coming to the features of distributed system, or the characteristics of distributed system. Okay, here, first of all, as I told you, there is no common clock. Let us take another example. Imagine there are two friends. Okay, one friend, each of them are having watches, and one's watch says 10:01 a.m. and the other one's watch says 10:02 a.m. Can we say which one is correct in that? No one knows which one is correct. Each computer, just like that, each computer has its own clock. We cannot say there is no single master clock. We cannot say this one is correct or this one is not. We cannot say like that. So actually, what here the problem that comes over here is that if computer A says, I have sent a message at 10 a.m. That is according to the clock of computer A. And computer B says, I received the message at 9:59 a.m. That is because of the computer B's clock. Both of the clocks are different. That is for their own. They have it for their own, and that is different. The clocks are not connected. They do not share the common clock. So it is, for us it'll look impossible, but actually their clocks are different. We'll be learning more about that in logical clocks. Then, that is no shared physical clock, or no common physical clock. Then, no shared memory. Again, let us take, there are two computers, computer A and computer B. Computer A has a RAM, computer B has a RAM. So, is it possible for computer A to directly access computer B's RAM? No. Each computer has its own memory. They can communicate, that is by sending messages. And this is why in distributed system we often call a message passing system. There is no shared memory, we can pass the message. So, there is a message passing system. Okay, then come the next feature is geographical separation. Geographical separation, let us say computers may be in Kerala, Delhi, London, New York, but even then they all work together. Let's say for Google server, the servers are spread across the globe, but they collectively provide a single service. That is geographical separation. Then autonomy and heterogeneity. Ouch, that sounds so difficult, right? No, it's actually not that difficult. Just know what the name of, what does autonomy mean? Autonomy means independent. Every computer is independent. If computer A wants, it can continue working even if computer B is busy. That is autonomy. Heterogeneity means, I told you, there are different computers, and these different computers can have different processors, different operating system, different memory sizes. Like one can have Windows server, one can have Linux server, one can have Mac, one can have cloud. They all work together. That is heterogeneity. They are different. So what all did we learn in the features? We have 4 features or characteristics of distributed system. First of all, there is no common physical clock. Second, there is no shared memory. Third, geographical separation, because the processors can be geographically apart. That is not an issue. Example, Google search engine. Then autonomy and heterogeneity. Autonomy, independent entities which can be different. Okay, so these are the features of distributed system. So we'll continue in the next video. Till then, bye bye.